What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you are excited because football is back, sort of. It is OTA season for the NFL for the Dallas Cowboys. The second day of OTA is wrapping up on Tuesday for the Cowboys, the day that you and I are discussing. Maybe you're watching this later. Maybe it's Wednesday. Maybe it's Thursday. Whenever it is, make sure you subscribe right here to the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. Our job is to deliver you the best Dallas Cowboys content that we possibly can. We put out a number of videos all throughout the week, every week. So we want to make sure that you are caught up. So please do subscribe. That makes us happy. As mentioned, OTA is the second day of it, wrapped up on Tuesday for the Cowboys. And in our new world, obviously, as the NFL and all of the world has moved on and done everything they can to get through COVID and the pandemic that we've been dealing with for well over a year now, information is scarce. Things are not like they used to be. Information comes out a bit of a slow burn. There are some days that the local media is allowed to attend OTAs. They are not allowed to tweet or report things during practice. After practice, if you're on Twitter, you generally see all the great local beat writers kind of send out a flurry of information. So we finally have some things to react to, which is very exciting when you consider it's been a very, very long time since we've seen the Dallas Cowboys play football, an even longer time since we've seen the Dallas Cowboys play football at a competitive level, obviously with Dak Prescott as their quarterback. But Dak is back, Jaylon Smith is back, Lyle Collins is back. So lots of things for us to dive into today. So let's go ahead and start. And actually, the first thing on our menu, technically, if we're going in chronological order, happened before OTAs begin. We've talked about this before here on the channel. We've written about it at bloggingtheboys.com, talked about it on social media. In fact, it was on social media in early April that linebacker Jaylon Smith hinted that he would like to change jersey numbers, and that has officially happened. It was first reported by ESPN's Todd Archer, but Jalen Smith has switched from number 54 to number 9. That's right, number 9, numero nueve, the number that previously belonged, of course, to Tony Romo, the longtime quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, the last person to wear number 9. Jalen Smith did wear number 9 in college at Notre Dame. He wore it in high school. He said when he met with the media on Tuesday that he has worn it since he was 9 years old. It clearly means a lot to him, but there is a lot to take away from this. And I know what you're saying. I know what you're thinking. It's just a jersey number. And let me be clear. I am not at all in the camp of the Romo stands where I am, the Harry Potter talking to Professor Snape. How dare you stood where he stood? Or how dare you stand where he stood? If I could get the quote right. That's not my take at all here. Jalen Smith is completely entitled to change jersey numbers if he wants to. For what it's worth, he actually paid to do this. ESPN's Todd Archer reported that Jalen Smith paid mid to six figures for the right to switch jersey numbers. What is that? What's going on there? Why did he have to do that? The NFL has a rule for any player that wants to change jersey numbers, if they are an active player, that they have to buy out the existing inventory of their jerseys because the NFL, the league, obviously sells their jerseys. So they have to do that. So Jalen Smith paid, like, not a joke here, at minimum $100,000 for the ability to switch from jersey number 54 to number 9. Of course, you will obviously recall that in our current world in the NFL as football fans, this offseason, the league widened the parameters, I should say, as far as numbers that some players are allowed to wear. Now, running backs, tight ends, wide receivers, linebackers, defensive backs can wear a lot more numbers than they were previously able to. Number 9 was previously not a number that linebackers could wear. It was normally a number for just quarterbacks, punters, and kickers, but now wide receivers can wear it. Obviously, defensive backs can wear it. Linebackers can wear it. Tight ends can wear it. And Jalen Smith, when this rule was first kind of percolating and looking like it was going to pass, shared on his Instagram story that he would like to move back to number 9. And obviously, this subject was met with much consternation, and a lot of that because of who this is. And again, Jalen has every right to switch jersey numbers if he wants to. He has every right to pay for the right to do that if he is so inclined to, which he clearly is. But here's where I fall. This only feeds the idea, however fair or unfair the idea is, but it is self-induced at this point by Jalen Smith. This only feeds the idea that he is focused on his brand, on his image, on the presentation of who he is as a football player. Maybe he truly believes that switching from number 54 to number 9 is going to help him, going to make him play better. And hopefully that's the case. Hopefully that really does make a difference, and it was worth it for him. We would all love to see that as Dallas Cowboys fans. But there is a narrative that surrounds Jaylon Smith. You know that better than I do, about how he is focused on his clear eye view. He's focused on his swipe. He's focused on, obviously, what he has going on in Jalen's world. You've seen it as well as I have. After different moments, often some that aren't necessarily the right times to celebrate, Jaylon Smith hits his patented, in a literal sense, swipe move. And this, again, really is an exact literal indication that Jaylon Smith is literally willing to pay money to associate himself with what he wants to from an outward perspective. In this particular case, his jersey number. I mentioned that Jalen did speak with the local media on Tuesday. We have a tweet from the Dallas Morning News' Michael Gelkin. He said about the number 9, it's just a blessing and honor to be able to carry on the 9 legacy. Tony Romo did an incredible job of just being elite and representing the franchise with the number. Obviously, Tony Romo, again, wore number 9 for the Dallas Cowboys. For what it's worth, Jalen did technically, according to ESPN's Todd Archer, reach out to Tony Romo about this. And according to ESPN's Todd Archer, Jerry Jones did give his blessing for this to happen. Again, I hope that Jaylon Smith turns it around. I hope he plays well. But like I said, this really just feeds that idea. However unfair that is, Jalen has created that narrative himself with all of the celebrating and all of the things that he's done, his clear eye view, his brand, the way he is, his presence on social media. And so this just feeds that. At the absolute best, the best case scenario here, if you're Jaylon Smith, if Jaylon Smith hired you and me, right, the 2 of us here, or the 3 of us, however many of you are watching here, wherever you're watching, if he hired us and said, hey guys, come up with a pros and cons list for me in terms of switching to number 9, in terms of how that could be viewed, what would happen. I just want pros and cons. I cannot come up with a single pro. Seriously. I mean, the only pro, and this obviously matters to a large degree, is it makes Jalen happy, right? Like, that's it. But the cons are, it costs a lot of money. The cons are, it feeds the idea that you care, you being Jalen, about your brand and your image and whatever the case may be. And it also steps on the Cowboys fans that are huge stands for Tony Romo. There is a sector of Cowboys Nation that is upset about this because they hold Tony Romo near and dear to their heart. And for what it's worth, in case you're wondering, we talked about this last time this subject came up. The Dallas Cowboys do not officially retired jersey numbers. There are no numbers retired in Dallas Cowboys franchise history. There are, of course, a couple of numbers that they choose not to hand out. Obviously, 8, 12, 22, 88 is a number that's kind of become a legacy number that they do hand out. 94 is kind of in that camp too. It seems like that could be number 9. So I ask you, should Jaylon Smith have done this? Because to me, the answer is probably not, because if he had just waited a year, he wouldn't have had to have paid this obscene amount, however much it ultimately was for him to switch. And what's more is, if he waited a year, he might be on a new team. Like, that's not joking. That's not being ridiculous. That's seriously that Jaylon Smith might not be on the Dallas Cowboys roster in 2022. So I don't think it was wise. That's kind of where I fall on this, but it is what it is. So that got the day started in epic fashion, as you can, of course, imagine. But let's talk about, we mentioned the old quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, the new quarterback. He is back. Dak is back. Dak Prescott, of course, present at OTAs on Tuesday, did not participate in team drills. We all know that Dak Prescott is coming off of the injury, suffered in week 5 last year against the New York Giants, incidentally, with Tony Romo on the call, the number 9 himself. And so the Cowboys are taking things slow, and I think this is really smart. We did a video last week talking about the latest with Dak Prescott. He has said before that he believes he is a full go. Mike McCarthy said that he doesn't anticipate any issues in terms of Dak Prescott being ready to go at training camp. We're starting now to see actual photos. This is a photo of Dak Prescott playing football on Tuesday, today, like this day that we're talking about. This isn't a long time ago. This isn't back in the fall. This isn't way back when. This is today, and this is very good to see. Now, I'm not a doctor. You might be a doctor, and if you are, hey, what's up? But it does seem very, very good in a very optimistic sense that Dak Prescott is doing these things. Obviously, the injury that he's coming back from is difficult. There's a long road there. There's a lot that goes into it. But this is very, very, very encouraging to see that Dak Prescott is playing for the Dallas Cowboys. And I think it's wise, because I know we're all impatient, right? We all want to see Dak Prescott running and jumping and doing all this crazy stuff. But you know what? today, the day that we're recording this, it's May 25th, man. It's May 25th. There are still 2 months until training camp, which means there is no reason for the Dallas Cowboys to rush this situation. Keep this whole thing chill. Put it on ice. Have a good vibe about it, and just take it one day at a time. You don't have to do anything crazy right now. Let Dak throw. Get comfortable. Wade yourself in. Go into the pool. Go to the little steps. Like get on the first step and let your ankles get, feel the cold water, and then go to the next step down to your knees. Okay, it's a little chilly, but I got to get out there to where the sun is. Then get into your belly button. Oh, it's chilly. It's tough. And then by the time you get to training camp, you're ready to get all the way into your shoulders, and it feels nice, relaxing, refreshing, especially in those summer months. But very cool to see Dak Prescott obviously doing anything in camp. Very, very, very awesome. Also awesome, Micah Parsons. Let's talk about a different Dallas Cowboys linebacker, one that gets your juices flowing, was present at OTAs. Big shocker here, the Dallas Cowboys first-round pick on hand as they begin preparations for the 2021 season. Ran with the second team, according to reports. What's not to love? What's not to get excited about here? Micah Parsons is playing football for the Dallas Cowboys. Who knows if Jaylon Smith's number 9 is even going to be on the field in important moments? I can tell you whose is. It's Micah Parsons' number 11, baby. That's right. Micah Parsons running with the second team. What can you expect? I mean, we all believe that Micah Parsons is going to play far more football this season and in the future, obviously, than Jaylon Smith or Leighton Vander Esch. But it's day 2. I mean, it's the second day of OTAs. It's not like the Cowboys can, go throw them out there right away with the starters. This is the NFL. They take things slow, as we just discussed with Dak Prescott, but it is very nice to see Micah Parsons working. In fact, a tweet that we don't have a graphic for, but I did want to read it out here because it was very cool. DallasCowboys.com's Danny Surek tweeted out, for whatever it's worth, she's on Twitter at Danny Surek, DaniSureck. For whatever it's worth, when an equipment guy accidentally tipped over the ice bucket onto the field during practice, Micah Parsons was the first one who ran over there to help clean it up. That is very cool. And it's actually, we just talked about Dak Prescott, reminiscent. You'll recall, very, very, very famous video, Dak Prescott's rookie year. Tried to throw a Gatorade cup behind him into the trash can, looked, and he missed it. We've all done that. And just, kind of whatever. And then got up and went and picked it up. And lots of people talked about how that moment said a lot about Dak Prescott and who he was. And this moment, similarly, could be saying a lot about Micah Parsons, that he ran over to help the equipment staffer pick up the ice bucket. That's awesome to see. So very cool on Micah Parsons' part. Let's move on. DeMonte KZ, active in practice after the Achilles tear. Very good news. We've talked so much about the safety position for the Cowboys and how they've treated it in a rather cavalier way. That is truly the Dallas Cowboys way, as we all know. But to be fair, the Cowboys did draft our friend, Israel Mukuamu. The Cowboys did technically draft a safety. But DeMonte KZ figures to be somebody who sees a lion's share of snaps at the safety position for Dallas, along with Donovan Wilson. Obviously coming back off the Achilles tear. Obviously knows Dan Quinn, has a history with him during their time together with the Atlanta Falcons. This is good to see. This is very good to see. To see DeMonte active this early on in the process certainly suggests that his health is at a place where it is reliable, where it can be counted on, where he is seemingly going to have a fair shot to show off who he is in the likes of OTAs, in mini camps, in training camp. I mean, this is big. I mean, look, let's be real with ourselves here. If the Cowboys get just average safety play out of DeMonte KZ, I think we would all consider that a huge victory in and of itself. But DeMonte KZ offering anything beyond that is kind of icing on top of the cake. Again, I think it's fair to assign if we want to put our belief somewhere defensively, it's fair to put it in Dan Quinn, right? It's fair to trust him. It's fair to think that Dan Quinn is in the process of riding this ship defensively for the Dallas Cowboys. And if he doesn't, well, hey, but right now it is fair to believe that is going to happen. And if DeMonte KZ is there, the Cowboys truly might be able to kind of have a bridge to 2022 at the safety position. Maybe they'll address it in the draft. They probably won't, because that's the Cowboys way. But still, if your options are DeMonte KZ and Donovan Wilson, and then you have to kind of figure it out beyond that, is that something that makes you feel great? No, but I guarantee you that you would feel a lot worse if DeMonte KZ wasn't already working even on day 2 of OTAs. So Let's talk about let's look at, speaking of safety, let's look at the cornerback situation. Calvin Watkins from the Dallas Morning News tweeted, remember, all of the things that we're talking about at this point are unofficial. It's not the actual starting lineup. Nothing is for real. It's just May. It's just OTAs. But Calvin Watkins' tweet, the unofficial first-team cornerbacks for the Dallas Cowboys. This will make you happy, I promise. Trayvon Diggs and Anthony Brown with Jordan Lewis in the slot. Seriously, I mean, this is it. This is what we thought it would be, right? And nothing shocking, nothing, ridiculous about this. And look, I know you and I believe in Kelvin Joseph, the football player. He'll work his way in. It's early. It's day 2 of OTAs. But still, the fact that Trayvon Diggs is already there, and look, he got a lot of playing time last year, but a lot of it was out of necessity. And yes, Chidobe Awuzie is gone, and clearly the Cowboys believed in him because they didn't exactly go in and bring in a veteran corner of a serious variety this offseason. But Trayvon Diggs getting his opportunity, and Jordan Lewis working in the slot. Look, Jordan Lewis came back to the Cowboys this year. Obviously, Cheeto left, but Jordan is back. So this is nice. Like, I'm not saying that the Cowboys' corner depth is something that's going to make you feel warm and fuzzy inside, but this is passable, no pun intended. This is workable. You can get things done with this group as your cornerback group, especially if you generate a higher pass rush, as we're hopeful the Cowboys will be able to in 2021. So very nice to see. Calvin Watkins also had a tweet about some linebacker pairings that he saw out at OTA. Some linebacker pairings, reading Calvin's tweet, Micah Parsons with Keanu Neal. I want to talk about that in a second. Leighton Vander Esch, and of course, Keanu Neal. Micah Parsons and Jabril Cox. Parsons and Leighton Vander Esch played middle linebacker. This is very cool. Very cool to see Micah Parsons being used this way, even if it is as the second teamer, because look, Leighton Vander Esch is going to get his opportunities, especially because he's in a contract year for the Dallas Cowboys now, right? We know and expect that the Cowboys are not going to re-sign him in 2022. Stephen Jones can say whatever he wants about how the Cowboys want Leighton back at a discount, but the reality is they declined his 5th-year option at a $9 million fully guaranteed value. So the Cowboys are only going to have Leighton Vander Esch back if it is on a lower value. So all that being said, it makes sense to give him the first crack at everything because it is so early on. I don't know if you've noticed, but it being early is a big theme of our discussion here today. But still, these pairings, Micah Parsons and Keanu Neal. Remember, Keanu Neal playing weak side linebacker for the Cowboys, obviously playing linebacker specifically for the Cowboys, no longer a safety. Dan Quinn obviously feels very comfortable with another former protege of his and moving him forward up in the defense. And I like that pairing a lot. There's a lot of athleticism there. I mean, we've spoken so much about how drafting Micah Parsons and drafting Jabril Cox gives the Cowboys that side-to-side, that versatility, that athleticism, that speed. I mean, moving sideways in a fast manner, to be like completely literal about it, is not exactly a trait that the Cowboys have had at the linebacker position in some time. So to get that sideline to sideline speed and versatility on the field, wherever it is, first or second team, in Micah Parsons and Keanu Neal, in Leighton Vander Esch and Keanu Neal, in Micah Parsons and Jabril Cox, or in any sense, any combination of these is great to see. And for what it's worth, and again, this is just one tweet, one moment, one whatever, not to make a big deal about anything, but Jalen Smith's name is not here. So Jalen can switch numbers all he wants, but his name is not here. These are the notable pairings. And again, this doesn't necessarily tell us this is how the Cowboys are going to operate all throughout the season, but it tells us at least that this is how they wanted to operate on Tuesday, May 25th. And that is a little bit notable. All the players that were limited in practice in the OTA session on Tuesday: Lyle Collins, Tristan Hill, Blake Jarwin, DeMarcus Lawrence, Dak Prescott, as we mentioned, Jaylon Smith, and Tyron Smith. And nothing to really, I think, panic over because, again, it's early. I told you that was the theme here today. Lyle Collins and Tyron Smith, though, to see them doing anything is notable. Dak Prescott, I saw, throughout his session with the local media, said that Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins are in the best shape of their lives. That is a bit of, I don't want to say a troll, but it's a bit of a trope this time of year. Every player in the NFL is in the best shape of their lives at this time of year. We hear that annually. It's an annual thing. You could put it on a bingo card and win a whole bunch. But still, not to knock that, because it is very cool and very exciting that Tyron and Lyle are both back. Blake Jarwin was not quite ready, according to local reports, but still day two, early on. Amari Cooper, we'll get to in a second. DeMarcus Lawrence, hey, go slow. Dak Prescott, as we mentioned, go slow. Even Jalen Smith has a wrist injury he's coming back from. Go slow. Now is the time to be slow, to be cool, to take things one day at a time. Shout out, of course, to Jordan Sparks. I know her song was One Step at a Time, not One Day at a Time. Yes, I got that song right. I know I messed up the Kiss song the other day. I'm still feeling a lot of shame from that, but hey, that's my B. I'll work through it. Anyway, players who were not present for the practice session for the Dallas Cowboys: Amari Cooper, Zeke Elliott, Zach Martin. Mike McCarthy did say that they are taking things slow with them, and we like that. SLOW, slow down, be cool. Like we said, it's early. There's no need to rush, and there's no need to freak out about these players not being active in this particular practice because, again, it's day 2 of OTAs, the first one that was open to the local media. The Cowboys clearly have a plan for how they want to operate this, and they're sticking to it, and that is the most, I think, the most optimistic thing that we have truly is that the Cowboys have a plan, and they feel like sticking to it. Now, Dak Prescott obviously is the center of all that because his return is something that we all believe is going to go a long way towards helping the Cowboys because he's the quarterback, because he's the best player on the team, etc. And there's obviously a lot of interest and discussion around him and his return. He obviously spoke to the local media as well and talked about his participation in the practice, even though he didn't participate in the team drills. He said, "I wouldn't say necessarily limited. We are being cautious. No drills yet when defensive linemen are rushing." Again, this is Michael Gelkin, tweet of the Dallas Morning News, potentially tripping toward his direction. Dak Prescott said, "I'm pretty much full go." Good for you then, Dak. Good for you. Be full go, and we'll be full go in a full go sense at training camp, which is I don't say very soon, but kind of soon. In fact, speaking of training camp, let's take a look at our off-season schedule for the Dallas Cowboys. Rookie minicamp well in the rearview mirror at this point. Obviously took place a couple of weeks ago. OTA workouts, as you can see, are May 24th, 25th. That's today, and the 27th, as well as June 1st, 3rd, and 4th. Mandatory minicamp is June 8th through the 10th. So the next couple of weeks are going to be very busy. And I can promise you that we're going to be very busy here at the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel, making sure you have everything that you need. So please do subscribe. And training camp is still technically to be determined. Now, something to note on the training camp front: the Dallas Cowboys are playing in the Pro Football Hall of Fame game this year, which takes place on August 5th. It's going to be an awesome Hall of Fame ceremony. Remember, Jimmy Johnson, Cliff Harris were part of the class of 2020 last year, the expanded class, a centennial class, and did not get the opportunity to have their enshrinement because of everything that happened due to the pandemic. So the Hall of Fame still has to take care of them, as well as the members of the class of 2021, which include Drew Pearson. We actually spoke to Drew Pearson about a week after he was announced as a member of the class of 2021. You can go back in our channel and our feed and go watch that interview. It was super awesome. Great time, great discussion. But with the Pro Football Hall of Fame game taking place on August 5th, training camp generally, technically, begins about 2 weeks before that. So you can kind of look at maybe, I would guess, right now it is all guessing because nothing is official, probably around July 20th, 21st, in that neck of the woods as far as training camp beginning. And for what it's worth, if you're somebody that wants to go to training camp, we'll see how everything works in terms of fan attendance and whatnot, but it is still not technically official that the Dallas Cowboys will be participating or will be holding their training camp in Oxnard, California, as they have for many years, obviously many years in terms of previous history. The NFL has a rule where teams have to go through a process of making sure, et cetera, blah, blah. It is about as, stone cold guaranteed as it can get that the Cowboys will be having their training camp in Oxnard, California, but it is not technically written in stone, but we will, of course, keep you updated as things progress here on the channel. This was a fun discussion. And by the way, shout out to DallasCowboys.com and their social team for the graphics we were able to use here today. Great images of Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, DeMonte KZ. I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting to see these new players and older players, obviously, and one of our favorite players in Dak Prescott getting going and things starting to happen, things starting to move forward. I mean, like we said, there is a plan that is being put into place, and there are steps that are being taken, and the Cowboys are literally now working towards the 2021 season. We are all extremely excited to see what the season has in store for the Cowboys, for all of us. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have a lot of great discussions as it all unfolds. So please subscribe right here to the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel. We have several videos that come out all throughout the week. Every week we do a bunch of live streams and discussions. We have fun things planned, some things up our sleeve. I don't have a sleeve on, like a long sleeve, but just imagine a metaphorical sleeve and things being up it. So we're going to have a good time in the coming months as the offseason continues to roll on. And yeah, So I'm RJ Ochoa. You know me, of course, from bloggingtheboys.com. I hope you had a great time here today. I had a fantastic time. It's always a good time when I can sit here and talk about the Dallas Cowboys with you because, I mean, what would you rather be doing other than talking about the best thing in the world, which is Dallas Cowboys football? So thank you for the time. Thank you for the energy. Thank you for the good vibes. I mean, just an incredible time here with all of our friends at bloggingtheboys.com. So with all that being said, do me a favor. Do me a favor and have the best day of all time. Like, just, I'm talking, have the best day ever. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, I'm going to have the best day ever. Just have the best day of all time. If it's a Monday, have the best Monday ever. Tuesday, have the best Tuesday ever. Wednesday, have the best Wednesday ever. Just have the greatest day of all time. You know why? Because you deserve it. We'll see you next time, everybody.